Hey everyone, and welcome to the first video in a new series we're rolling out here at Nielsen Networking on security awareness. And we've decided to start with one of the most prevalent risks out there on the internet, and that is something known as phishing. And when I mention phishing, I mean it in relationship to email security, text messaging, instant messaging to some extent, not phishing like, hey, let's grab our poles and our tackle box and head out to the lake. That fishing would be much more enjoyable than the fishing, unfortunately, we're going to discuss. Um, so the goal of this video is to teach you some skills, to get you some knowledge, some background, some understanding, so you do not become a victim. Because at the end of the day, the goal is to teach you so you don't get fished. So what is phishing? And before I move forward, real quick, if I'm moving too quick in this video, feel free to pause it and check out whatever's on the screen. And be just a special note, I'm not going to read word by word what is on the screen. That's more of an exact definition. I'm just going to kind of give you some of my real life experience to try to make things a little more entertaining here. But if you did want specifics definition wise, that's what you're going to see on that screen. So, phishing, it is a cybercrime, and it is where a group of people or could be an individual, or it could be, on the other end of that spectrum, it could be a giant corporation. Um, they target individuals, groups of people, or companies, and they pose as legitimate companies or institutions, and they try to lure individuals into providing them with sensitive data. And the sensitive data could be anything from, PI, personal identifiable information. It could be your banking and credit card details, your passwords, your medical records, and on and on. The information is then taken and used to access important accounts that can result in several things. The major ones that are noted here are identity theft, reputation damage, and financial loss. And some of you may be saying, well, reputation, how does that really tie in if they get my information? Well, think about it. What if they were to get your information and log into your Facebook account and post a bunch of stuff out on your Facebook feed that isn't from you? Or what if you were looking for a job and they posted it on the internet, on LinkedIn? And I know some people might say, well, you know what, I could just figure out I was it and I could take it down, no harm, no foul. But what if you were, right at that stage where you were about to get a job interview and all of a sudden this pops in there? You could lose out on that job because they would have seen that. And the chances are they're not going to go back and worry about why you posted those messages you did. They're just going to think, well, they did. And you know what? There's a lot of other people out there, so I'm gonna go and try to find someone else. So um, that's what it can do, along with many other things, but that's kind of the major ones. Now, what are the types of phishing attacks? There are many, and I'm not going to go over all of them. That would be a whole video on its own, but I'm going to give you the main ones. And the first one I want to discuss is spear phishing. And what spear phishing is, it's a much more targeted, narrow attack where they focus more on either a specific company, a group, or even an individual. Um, there's the other type that I'm not going to talk about, but just real quick to give you an idea of it, it's a mass spam. It goes to everyone. It's not targeted. It's going to be very random. It's going to say, you know, um, dear member or dear associate or whatever. It's just going to be very generalized. So spear phishing is the opposite of that. These are targeted emails where they're going to target your company, they're going to target your industry, and they're going to tailor their email content to something that would make sense to you. So let's say you work at General Motors. They're going to send you information on automobiles or, competition. It could be they're going to send you something on what Toyota's doing or Tesla or whatever. Um, and they're very, very highly believable emails. They might even make it look like it's coming from like a parent company or an affiliate. Just they might get some extra information, and they can get that information out on LinkedIn and other places. The second type is whaling, and what whaling is, besides the funny name, it is where they are targeting high value targets, lucrative targets as they call them. These are going to be your CFOs, your controller, your owner, your accounting department, your HR, people that can, give them valuable information or, in regards to accounting, they could give them wiring account instructions and trick them into wiring funds. That does happen, believe it or not. Um, those type of things. Or HR, they might try to get, employee records, social securities, those type of things. And then there's smishing, which is a type of phishing that is text message based. So you've probably seen them, especially around times when there's, elections or other things like that. You're going to get the campaigners that are sending you those things trying to get you to vote for their side. Um, but those are just more of an annoyance. But smishing, where they're targeting you for your information, is going to be more um, dangerous because they're going to get your password resets, or your cell provider is sending you a text, but it's not really your cell provider, and just get you to give them that personal information. The last one is vishing, and it takes place over the phone or your voicemail. Um, they try to act like they're a partner firm, or a vendor, or someone you have a relationship with, and they try to get you through pressure to divulge some information that they can then either take that, socially engineer it, and craft an email now that's more tailored towards you, or just go after your accounts if you were unfortunate enough to give them information that they could use to get those accounts. So there are some common characteristics of phishing emails, and the ones we're going to go over here are the most notable. And the first one I'll mention is an eye-catching offer. I'm sure you've all seen them. Those emails where you just inherited all this money, this small fortune, from this person you've never heard of in a country you've probably never knew you had any family, but yet they're going to give you all this money. And it's just one click away. You just need to do this, X, Y, or Z. A lot of the time, these are going to be, well, if you want all this money, you need to send me a little bit of money, or there's going to be some other catch. But it starts out with like, boom, they get you in like, yeah, and they make you think, well, what if I know this probably isn't legit, but what if it is? And they make you question, your own gut instinct. Second thing is they're going to put, and this I do believe is probably what I see the most, a sense of urgency. Hey, you won that lottery, or that you're now the heir to this giant fortune. But if you don't do this right away, we're going to give it to your brother or your sister or whoever else. Um, so they put this pressure on you where they don't want you to logically think, should I even be like paying attention to this email? Um, they're just trying to put that pressure on you. So you just, oh, wow, okay, first of all, it's an eye-catching offer, and now I have to act quick. I can't lose out on this. And then you go and you do things that you're going to regret doing. A lot of them are going to have hyperlinks, and a lot of the hyperlinks are going to be misspelled or have different characters where they should be, a zero or an O, the letter O, they'll have zeros, or they might have a one where it should have been an I, or it will just be misspelled completely. And when you click on those links, it's going to take you to a phishing site. And on that phishing site, they're going to have a site that looks like, let's say you thought you were going to Ford.com. You go to, Ford with a zero instead of an O in it, and they have an identical copy to what Ford would look like. But when you go to click on the form they want you to fill out, it's actually taking all your information, your password, or whatever you put in their social security, driver's license, and it's getting sent to them. So that's where it can be really deadly. So mouse over those links, see where they're really going, and I'll show you that in a little bit here, in an example I have of being able to mouse over and look at where those links are actually taking you. You can do that with the emails as well, and I'll show you that. Um, is it Does it contain attachments? Were you expecting attachments? If you weren't, why is this person, first of all, you probably don't even know, sending you an attachment, and why are they telling you with such urgency that you need to open it right away? That should be a huge red flag. Last thing, who is it coming from? Is it from an unusual sender? Is it from a person you've never heard of, or is it from a person you've heard of, but it's so unbelievable, like, is President Biden emailing you? Or is Julia Crawford, like, are any of these people really out of the blue going to be emailing you, giving you their fortune, or telling you to open their attachments? Probably not. But it sounds too good to be true, and sometimes that just a little bit gets you going, where you're like, well, what if it is? It's not. And if it is, not answering their email isn't going to make that not happen. So here we go with some phishing email examples. This one's from Bank of America. First of all, I'm gonna move my mouse over here. Bank of America, yeah, but it's coming from a Comcast email address. See where it says Bank of America? That's known as the display name. You could make that say, you know, whoever you wanted it to be. It's also to undisclosed recipients. The reason they do this a lot of the time is so they can send it to a bunch of people. If they addressed it to you individually, they would only be able to send it to one person at a time, or everyone right away would see that it wasn't sent to them. It would have your address. Um, and then down here, dear member, again, a lot of people can be a member, right? But if they were to spell out, dear Mr. Doe, they would know, okay, well, it can only be sent to Mr. Doe. Oh, otherwise people would see it right away. And in this instance, it's not capitalized, which is kind of, I mean, from Bank of America, that's kind of, you would expect a little bit better from them. I mean, mistakes could happen, but unlikely, especially because most of these emails that you're going to get from a Bank of America are going to be generated and templated, so they're not going to have errors. They will have been like proofed, and they're going to be looking really sharp. They're not going to have bold where it all of a sudden goes unbolded and it's really small. They're also not going to have a link that when you mouse over it goes to a URL that isn't Bank of America. So that's the first one. Let's check out another one here. PayPal. Is this PayPal? Yeah, sure. Oh, actually, it's coming from, I guess that's almost Access at up.com. Up.com, that must definitely, it must be an affiliate of PayPal, right? So you go down here, they need our help. So they're going to let us know that your account has been suspended as an error was detected in your informations. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my informations having any errors. So based on the grammar and the sentence structure, I'm gonna probably go with, this wasn't even sent to me, and it's not from PayPal, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this. Last example here, this is to a company known as Rackspace, which is a hosting provider for websites and other cloud services. And this one looks like it was sent to from Rackspace, I'm sorry, not to, it was from Rackspace. But they're sending me something, but Rackspace would be rackspace.com, not nu.edu.pk, wherever PK is at, not even sure. And then down here, here's where you're going to get to see a little bit of urgency I mentioned. So if we look down here, dear valued member, we recently have determined that computers have logged onto your account and multiple password failures were present before the logons. That doesn't quite make sense. But what they're saying is, you had some failed logins, which honestly does happen. You may get a message that is telling you this. Here's where it gets interesting. Rackspace is never going to tell you this. If this is not completed by February, we will be forced to suspend your account indefinitely, as it may have been used for fraudulent purposes. Confirm your records here. Click on that link. If I could mouse over this and show you, guarantee you it's going to a phishing form. So these are just some examples out here. Now, what can you do to prevent these phishing attacks? Look for the red flags. Who is the email from? What is the subject? Am I expecting an email from this person or company? What are these hyperlinks or attachments? Why does the sender seem to be putting such pressure on me to act? Think before you click. You are the last line of defense. You are the human firewall. Like I like to tell people I work with, I'm the human firewall. I'm sitting in a chair in between the keyboard and the mouse and the monitor. I'm in between the chair, the mouse and monitor and keyboard. If I don't type any answers in and if I don't click anything, I prevent it from happening. Keyboard's not going to do it on its own. Mouse isn't going to click on its own. And the chair is certainly not going to do it. So I just have to prevent any damage from being done by me not acting on anything. Don't act out of impulse. Something else, and we're going to have a complete video on this, but you can do something that is known as enabling multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. What that does is it enables where once you log in with your password, it's then going to want to verify when you're logging in from a new location that you are who you say you are, and it's going to send you a message on your phone or whatever device you have set up to make you then enter that PIN number. That proves, first of all, you know your password. Secondly, you actually have something in possession that proves not only do you have the password, but you have that cell phone. So that gives us two factors of knowing you are who you say you are, and then you responded back with that PIN number that only you would have because it's on your cell phone. You can install a spam filter. these are great at not only preventing phishing attacks, but just generalized annoying spam that doesn't do damage necessarily other than annoy you. Um, you can take security awareness training, which you're doing right now, listening to a video on that, that will help you recognize the risks. And you can go ahead and verify the source. When in doubt, pick up the phone and call that person. Did you just send me this message? Um, no. Well, it's coming from your account. Oh my God, I think my account was compromised. So you might even be alerting them of a situation if it was coming from their actual account that they've been compromised. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this, taught you some things that you can use out there so you don't get phished. And if you enjoyed this video, like I said, this is the first of a series. Go ahead and please, we would greatly appreciate a like. And if you want to get more of these videos, subscribe, turn on that notification. And even better, if you want to share this with your friends, family, colleagues, use it for training at your own company, have at it. Just subscribe and give me that like. I'd appreciate it. And then once again, if there's any questions or anything, throw them down there in the comments and I'll try to get back to them. Or if you have any ideas for future videos you'd like to see, or if there's any topics of, cybersecurity that you're interested in, or um, any guides or anything you'd like to hear about, let me know. Thank you very much. You have a great day.